Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, who came to us in the person of a man. The man's name is Master Fard Muhammad. And in the name of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, now the exalted Christ, who when he first saw Master Fard Muhammad and heard him telling this truth, he knew who and what he was looking at. He was looking at the Savior, the Messiah, the one to come, the Son of Man, to come after the end of the 400 years of our brutal affliction, slavery in the hells of North America. And as they say in the streets, it takes one to know one. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a God in the making, and he didn't even know that himself. And in the name of the most, I say the Honorable, he don't say the most, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the representative of the Messiah. He represents the Messiah in a beautiful way. The best student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he is the hand and the word of God in this world to bring this devil down. All praises are due to Allah. So I'd like to greet you in the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Well, here we are again here at Muhammad Farms. We just loaded out a couple of trucks of watermelons Friday and Saturday yesterday, and I just wanted to talk to you all a little bit. And you know, it may seem I'm going this way and that way, but stick with me. I think we can make it all hang together. So the title of the presentation is From Watermelons to Fake Meat. From watermelons to fake meat. Now, here at Muhammad Farms, we produce watermelons with seeds. Now, you know, we started this over in Africa and Egypt and Ethiopia, places like that, the Sudan. We started vegetables in these watermelons, but now they got seedless watermelons, which you know, they don't even look sweet, don't even look real, which you know ain't good for you, but you got to understand who and what we are dealing with here. So, this is how you do it organic. This procedure of really cultivation, which is you remove the weeds from around your plant to give your plant a chance to pull up the nutrients in the water. We was going to do a Muhammad Farms Weed Pulling Festival May 26, 2018, but something happened and we couldn't get it done that week nor the next week. It was very beneficial in the end, but we didn't know that in that particular time frame. However, so this is how you do it organic. We've fed billions of people this way for millions of years this way. You don't want to do this. Well, in Cuba they do this when they need to. They don't, all the people don't be out there in the fields all the time. You have the farmers who do the planting and the major cultivation, but when there's weeds that they can't get to, everybody gets on the bus, gets on a bus and goes to the farm that needs the help, and they work it because the people get free education. They get free health. They get a free amount of the basic foods that you got to have to survive, and then they pay for the fresh vegetables and fruits, but the basic, the rice, the black beans, the potatoes, these are things that they get as staples because they are part of the country of Cuba, and they survived even after Russia failed. Of course, they was on sanctions for over 50 years from America, and they still stayed afloat. Russia failed, and they still stayed afloat because everybody went to the fields. So we was going to practice this here, but we were not able to do that. This is how the white man has replaced us, spraying the weeds of the herbicides using a tractor. Now you can know this can go a lot faster and quicker than this process right here. You're able to get it, therefore they're able to give you cheap food. But now you know that ain't good for you. But then you tell us you want us to do it like that, but you don't want to pay the worker. Slaves went out in 1865, and then with the black folks who bought land of the 16 million acres, when they came with the tractors and the herbicides, the children left because they didn't want to do this when they see the white boys riding around on tractors, so they left and went to the cities. But they wouldn't give the black man the money for the tractors and the herbicides. They gave the white man the money. You heard I say they gave him the damn money. Shit. Alright. And these are the weed control chemicals you can use for watermelons. You got Select Max, and Tap Out to deal with some of the perennial grasses. Then you got another set, Command, Chromosome, Command 3ME. See, they're able to spray this on all these different crops: cantaloupes, cucumbers, pumpkins, summer and winter squash, and watermelons. And so they can get their fields. This is cotton right here. Look at it. You don't see not a weed nowhere. You know that ain't right. So of course this cotton has no competition. But look at our watermelons. Number one, the raccoon hit that one. But these are the weeds that men gotta look for watermelons. But guess what? This is dried up the water and the nutrients that the watermelon could use. But here, the white boy don't have that problem because of the chemicals that's subsidized by the government. How I know this is because we got those subsidies until Glenn Beck and other people blasted the minister for getting subsidies from the government. So we shut down even though we didn't get that much, and there's farmers getting millions of dollars from the government. Your tax money. Your tax money. So we put down plastic to try to control the weeds right around the plant. But this is what these guys do, man. The irrigation system subsidized by the government. We can't even pull it up that size because they won't allow us to dig a well that can pull up enough water to run that. I ain't talking about no damn conspiracy theories or something I heard. I'm telling you the fight that I've been in down here for 24 years. We can't even build a 8 or 12-inch well. 6 inches is all we can do. You need a 12-inch well to run something like this. Can't do it with a 6-inch well to run these large irrigation systems. If we had the money, we couldn't do it because they won't allow us to do it. They won't let us dig a well big enough to do it. But last year, starting right before we was going to have our weed pulling contest, pulling festival, it started raining and we had to cancel. And then I said, wait, what's going on here? So I started looking at the weather map, and I noticed that every day, almost every day, from May 30th when I started keeping track and taking the pictures of the radar map, that it would start off in Cuba like a flame of fire, but this was rainstorms. And then the rainstorms would go up, straight up through Florida into Georgia. Almost every day for 2 weeks. Same thing, this is later on that same day. This is at 3:31 p.m. and it's 4:53 a.m. the next day, still doing that. So we had a lot of rain. We had a lot of rain. We were able to get a lot of watermelons last year. I call it a special year because after the rains slowed down, the sun came out. You need water for the size and you need the sun for the taste, for the sugar. So we had a great harvest last year. But it was a special harvest because of the perfect conditions in terms of the rain and then the sun. But June 29th, 2019, yesterday, I noticed there is that process again. And last night, this rain came up from here, middle of the night to Georgia, and we got about 1 inch of rain. That started off right here in Cuba. The rainstorm started off there, then moved up into Georgia. But this is June 29th, a month later than May 29th. So in May, instead of rain, we got a lot of heat, 100-degree weather. which stunted the watermelons, even though we tried to put our little irrigation gun on it, stunted the watermelons. And since we didn't have the different weeds controls, then the weeds came up, and the weeds choked out the watermelons that was there, because we didn't have no chemicals down. We had gone through by hand, and we're looking good. But what happened was the rains came, and the weeds came up, and we couldn't get back in there and plow because the watermelon vines is all through here, but it's covered up by the weeds, so it reduced our yield tremendously, about really 1/5. And the watermelons are 2/3 of the size that they were last year. So we thank Allah for last year. We personally saw Him produce that rain and that sunshine for us to have a great crop. Now, are we going to eat Satan's meat, or will we follow Elijah's plan? They're getting ready to replace humans with androids. Okay? And the way they'll get rid of humans, they're going to feed you fake meat, fake food. They can produce in laboratories from just stem cells and chemicals, and then feed it to you, and you're going to slowly die. In the Holy Quran, it warns you about defacing the ear of your cattle. Well, here they're producing meat without the cattle head, without the ear, without the legs, just from in a petri dish from a single cell. Then they grow it as though they God, and then they give it to you to eat, and you eat it as though you food. And this is not something that they're taught. Look it up. Look up cultured meat. Use your iPhone and your computers for more than playing video games. Put in cultured meat, and you will see that they have already got this ready for you to replace not only ground beef, but even something that looks like a steak itself. You don't know what you're dealing with. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has warned us, but we acting silly. We should know better. So they're going to replace us. And what about the other white folks? So they don't care about them. They don't care about each other. All they care about is you. Either you be their slave, or they gonna kill every damn body. Let the robots run it. Now there was a sister, Dr. Arikana Chinhombori Quayo, the African Union ambassador to the U.S., that offers a masterful history lesson on how Africa was divided into tiny little countries during the Berlin Conference of 1884, and how the nations of Africa are still being adversely impacted. See, people, they said, y'all talk about the white man, y'all talk about these conspiracy theories. God damn it, this was the Berlin Conference of 1884. They divided up Africa and decided how to keep Africa divided forever. Don't talk about tell me about conspiracy theories. This is what these people do to keep us in our situation. Right now, 98.3% of Ghana's gold still remains in the hands of multinationals. They came over to Africa offering us more gold for our labor. We got on the good ship Jesus and got took. They doubled back around and went back to the Gold Coast and captured Ghana. Colonized Ghana. And then took, even when they left, they still got the resources owned by the multinationals to extract the gold out of Ghana and take to Europe, even though the Africans supposedly have control of their land. But she goes through it beautifully as the games that they play. They got to put the Francophone country, the country that's once owned by France, to get free. They had to agree in 1958 that they will put 85% of their money in the bank, in the French bank. And then the only way they get any money out, they had to borrow the money. They can only get 20% of what they put in, but they had to borrow the 20% at interest. How the hell you gonna put money in somebody else's bank, and then you gotta get it out? You gotta borrow. You can't take it out. It's your money. You can't take it out. You can only borrow against it. Come on now, and pay interest on it, on your money. Wicked. Now you say, why don't the African leadership stand up? She breaks it down in her lecture. You can go to on my Facebook page, or you can just put in her name. So on YouTube, she was on the Roland Martin show. He presented the video on his program. They killed 22. They assassinated 22 leaders of Africa. Every time the leader trying to break the people away from the control of the international bankers and the multinational corporations, they just simply kill it. And then put in a puppet to who they pay. This is how they roll. This is how they play. This is not conspiracy theories. This can be backed up with actual facts and history. And in America, in the 60s, they killed Kennedy, John Kennedy. Why? John Kennedy was going to take control of the money supply from the Federal Reserve, to print greenbacks instead of allowing the Federal Reserve System to print the money, which is the Federal Reserve note. A note is a debt. So instead of allowing them to print it, he was going to print and back it with silver. And he was also demanding to see what Israel was doing in Dimona. It was producing nuclear weapons. This is 1961. He demanded that. And so what they did in 63, they killed him. Malcolm said something about it. They killed Malcolm in 65. They killed him. The government. All right? And then they killed Martin Luther King in 68. And then they killed Bobby Kennedy in 68. So this is how they operate. You don't bow down, they kill you. And she really breaks down how they did Africa. And then people, even today, they look at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and said, well, he's still alive. He's 86 years old. How come he ain't dead? How come he ain't dead? He's been poisoned twice, both by black folk. One of them was food poisoning in his food, and another was they gave him too much radiation for the prostate. Burned his insides, lower part, down. He has these bags now for his digestive system to eliminate. Okay? Black doctor overdosed him with the radiation, burned him inside. Then somebody had already poisoned his food, black. So don't say, well, he's still alive. He's still alive for two reasons. Allah protected him. The black folks is stupid, and the white folks are scared because they know about the plane. They're not ready to fight the wheel. Master Farad Muhammad gave them some baby planes to look at. You can see about it on my Facebook page. They are fascinated by it. They can't do nothing with them. They know now they finally admitting that they're flying around them all the time and playing with them like children. Like they riding around a tin can, riding slow. They can just go around them in circles while they riding as fast as they can. Can't even. Sometimes they can't even see them to shoot them. They can't even pull the trigger if they wanted to. You understand? This is power of God who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, who built those wheels. So they know, the ministers told them in 1989, come on, you can kill me, but you go out to 12 hours from when you kill me, your country will be gone. So that's why they won't do it. They want some niggas to do the work for them, and niggas tried. They were unsuccessful. All praises due to Allah. Now let's get back over here. There was a group called the Casablanca Group, sometimes known as the Casablanca Bloc, was a short-lived informal association of African states with a shared vision of the future of Africa and of a Pan-African and a Pan-Africanism in the early 1960s. The group was composed of 7 states led by radical left-wing leaders, largely from North Africa: Algeria, Egypt, Ghana, Guinea, Libya, Mali, and Morocco. Now on the other side, there was a Monrovia group whose ideas ultimately prevailed, and their ideas were individual state nationalism, not a united Africa. In 1963, the states from both groups joined to create the Organization of African Unity. The Monrovia group included Liberia, Nigeria, and most of the Francophone Africa, including Senegal and Cameroon. So let's look at a map. Here is the Casablanca group. This is the group that wanted Africa for Africans, all Africa united together in one nation, so they compete against Europe and China and everybody else. Ghana, the C stands for the Casablanca group. Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt. The Muslim countries, these are Muslim countries, they wanted freedom from Europe completely and unite, organize all of Africa under one heading. But all them Francophones and them Christian Negroes, Senegal, where Diop is from. That's a whole nother story about Diop. He led us the wrong way. But anyway, Senegal, Liberia, that's where Monrovia is. The capital of Monrovia is Liberia. Liberia, Nigeria, Cameroon, and others. So if we were all together in '63 and have done the right thing, they would have been in a lot better condition. Now this is Liberia right here. I went to Liberia myself in I think it was 2000. Now, on this side of Liberia is Sierra Leone. On this side of Liberia is Cote d'Ivoire. Now, they speak French, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone. Okay. Liberia runs on 110, 220 current, like America and England. But Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire, they run on 230 current. Therefore, when Liberia had a civil war and their electrical plant was destroyed, they couldn't get electricity from Cote d'Ivoire. They couldn't get it from Sierra Leone because they was 110, 220, they was 230, they was 230. Now this is a map showing you the different plugs and sockets in the world. In other words, the different setups of how they're telling you if you go into another country, you got to be prepared. Look at America and Canada, all the same. Look at Europe, including Russia, all the same. So that means that what? Things are quite transportable. For one, you can take your appliance from America, take it to Russia. I mean, from America all over the place. But in Russia and Europe, they use the same stuff. Look at Africa, all divided up. So like what happened right here, here's Liberia here in this area right here. So what happens is, here's Liberia. So what happens is you can't even trade between one another, electrical appliances, because they don't work. This is how they keep you divided. They divide us up by language. They divide us up by technology. And then if you try to work together, like Gaddafi did recently, they kill you. Like Patrice Lumumba, they kill you. This is what they do. So, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, look, I got a God. He told Bush, watch the weather. Press conference 2004. Said, watch the weather. Okay? Now, I watched it. This is May 3rd, 2004. So what I did, I started watching the weather. Now, these are maps. Okay? Weather maps in terms of the tracks of the hurricanes in 2004. Now, this is what I drew to represent what their track. This is theirs right here. Here's Florida, here's Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. This is Cuba. So here it comes, flipped around that way. Now, the first one was Alex. Okay? Alex was first, because that's it, they deal by alphabetical order. Alex, then Charlie, then Francis, then Ivan, then Gene. Now, I took those and flipped them around this way so that you'll see when I'm going. Next slide, you'll see where I'm going. But here's Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I turn it sideways because I'm getting ready to put something together. But here's Alex, here's Charlie, here's Francis, here's Ivan, and here's Gene. These numbers represent the category or the size of the storm in terms of wind speed, that is maximum wind speed. So the maximum wind speed for Alex was category 3, then Charlie and Francis was category 4, Ivan was category 5, and Gene was category 3. But what I'm interested in is the shapes. The shapes. Now, here is Alex. Go back. And Charlie. Go back. And Francis. Go back. And Ivan. There's Ivan. Go back. And there's Jean. When you put them together, it spells Allah in Arabic. Now I just want you to feast your eyes on this for a minute and just think about what I just said. We got a God, y'all. No spook. Now, last week, PBS did a video on the Nile River, 4,000 miles long, starting from Lake Victoria, going all the way up here to Cairo, and then Lake Tana, the White Nile, the Blue Nile, this is the White Nile. They come together, cartoon. They really pissed me off because they talked about the people on Lake Victoria is that all they can do is fish at night on small boats, and then the children catch flies and make fly burgers out of them. Now, I hate them liars. They don't want to tell you the truth about the ingenuity of our people, then and now. And yet they train them to work for them and make them rich, even steal the gold and everything from us, and then steal our natural resources, our human beings, their brains themselves. So this is like 4,000 miles long. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Message of the Black Man, page 31 and 32. We, the tribe of Shabbat, says Allah, God, were the first to discover the best part of our planet to live on, the rich Nile Valley of Egypt and the present seat of the holy city, Mecca, Arabia. Why is this important? When they did the video, the documentary talking about the Nile River, they didn't mention this area here. I go back up here. They didn't mention this area right here. This is called a belly of stone in the Sudan. These are a lot of granite mountains that the water couldn't get through. And now they got cataracts, 7 of them. Cataract here, 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 and here. A cataract is a narrow, this is the second cataract. All the water from the Nile comes through here, okay, or goes through there. It turns sideways because this is only 30 feet. And it's not a waterfall, so it goes through there. Here is the remnants of a dam. They found dams all the way through the belly of stone because they had to cut the water off so they can dig that or blow that, cut it, and then they can let the water flow again. So what am I saying? The scientists say that 25,000 years ago that these cataracts did not exist. The water did not make it up to the Nile Valley in Egypt. Go back up in here. It didn't make it past Aswan. It didn't go up here. Something happened 25,000 years ago, and it cut its way somehow through. Well, the somehow is that we cut it. We made the Nile River. So go to hell, cracker. So, black men and women, stop sending our children to get higher education and degrees in majors that we have no companies to hire them in, because their brains will be used against us. We are the gods of this planet. They stole us. They stole our technology. They made us build for them. And now we're voluntarily raising our children to continue to build for them, to work for them in their multinational corporations. As they rob Africa, as they rob the world, and they rob you. You wind up dead on, got nothing to pass on to your child, not even a job. Your children get educated in these colleges, and they never come back home because there's no jobs for them back home. They take them all over the world to work for them. And then when they get finished with them, they decrepit and they die. If they're not dying fast enough, they give them false diagnoses and kill them. Or they stupid enough to buy the pills that say you have a fatal incident. So, you know, I'm not the smiling one. I can smile. But I'm not the smiling one. Because I'm upset. I'm upset with black people. Even those who say they believe in Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, for not working in unity hard enough to separate and build a new reality. Build Wakanda. Build what we had before. But this time we got a plane. We got a wheel. Ezekiel's wheel. Who can protect us against these enemies of God who are afraid of that technology, but it's on our side. But we got to be on our own side to get some backup. So come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sins. Because in 1995, when they saw 2 million black men come to the capital of D.C., the capital, they decided to sink America and everybody in it. They don't give a damn what color you is. And now they're selling America to the Chinese. Wake up, black man and woman. Get some gumption. I know you done got lazy and sorry and soft. Get up, black man and woman. Let's do for self. You were the gods at one time. Don't allow these upstarts who we trained to kill us, to wipe us out slowly. Let them come with the guns so we can pull out our weapons, the wheels that our people are flying around. All praise is due to Allah. May Allah continue to bless you and bless the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the representative of the Messiah, a Messiah himself, who has held us all together on his faith. But guess what, brother minister? There's a few of us who believe in you, brother minister, and we're going to continue to do what you have told us to do, obedient to you. Standing down when you say stand down. Stand up when you say stand up. And not be afraid of the consequences. Because death comes to us all. But punks, you choose to be a punk. And some of us choose not to be a punk. We with you, brother minister. All praise is due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, family.